Good afternoon, everybody. We are live once again for our second game in back-to-back action. Today we've got the Hornets of the University of Vermont, Lyndon, and your Eagles of Husson University for women's lacrosse action. Hello once again. I'm Sam Miller, joined alongside Max Stern. Now, Max, taking a look at the Vermont Lyndon Hornets. So far, only 0-1 in the year, have not played very many games. And this is a team that's been hindered by injuries so far this year. Only playing with just 7 women on the roster today. What can we expect from them in this matchup?
It's going to be a hard matchup for the Hornets going up against this Eagles squad. Eagles are 1-4 overall on the season. Not the start that they were looking forward to, but now we're getting into conference play, so things start to change a little bit. As far as the Hornets go, coming in today, they had 9 players. 2 of them are injured, so 7 total players on the field. It's a really rough position for the Hornets, but I expect that they'll come out here and really give it their all and try and take on this Eagles defense and offense the best that they can. It should be a fun game to watch, and we'll see how this one goes down.
They expect the Hornets to come out swinging today. This will be a very interesting matchup, as we mentioned. Now, looking over the Eagles, 1-4 overall. This is their first conference matchup today. Max, when you look over at the Eagles, there are a lot of good things that stand out. Of course, 51 goals on the year, 20 assists. They're shooting around 51%. And a lot of that has to come with the play. That's the incredible play from Avery Baker.
Yeah, Avery Baker for 3 years now has been the star of this Eagles team. Coming in today, she's got 13 goals on the season, 4 assists, shooting around 50%, and she's done her work on the defense too with 4 caused turnovers and has 9 free position goals on the year. Free position goals have really been her bread and butter for a long time now. She finds a way to get fouled inside that shooting line and is able to net home a lot of those free position shots. In her career, she's over 100 goals now, so to say that she's been the player, the star for the Eagles would be a complete understatement, and I expect her to have a big game here today.
Not to mention Baker's scoring as well, but her passing is also incredibly underrated. Leading the team with 7 assists this year for the Eagles, and she's going to be very, very important in not only scoring the ball, as you said, but finding her open teammates on cuts around the crease and into the goal.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they work together as a team around this Hornets defense. The Hornets, yes, they're playing down several players, but they will be able to settle in on defense. And I talked to Maddie Benoit, number 5 for the Eagles, before this game about kind of what they were going into this game thinking about. And she said, we're treating this like any other game, regardless of how many players they have. We're going to go out there. It's a conference game, and you can't go out and play down to an opponent in any way, shape, or form. You have to go out swinging the same way that you would against a team like MMA, who has led the conference for so long. We'll see how they go ahead and do that today. I expect to see a fair amount of scoring at the beginning of this game.
Every game matters in conference play. We're going to send it over to our PA announcer, Joe Swanson, for our starting lineups. Folks, don't go anywhere. We will be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network.
And your Eagles of Husson University. Husson University would like to thank its corporate sponsors, Adidas, DKI Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration Incorporated, Buffalo Wild Wings, Karen Signs, Casella, Chick-fil-A, Courtyard by Marriott Bangor, Creative Print Services, Cross Insurance, Sear Bus Line, Domino's, Down East Orthopedics, Dice Arts, First National Bank, Gatorade, Greenway Equipment Sales, Hammer Lumber Company, Harvest Moon Deli, Hero Sports Grill and Entertainment Center, Holiday Inn, Pepsi, Pizzeria Uno, Rod's Moving, Saco Bay Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy, School Street Picture Framing Incorporated, Take It Smarter, U.S. Air Force, Barney Buick GMC Mazda, and White Sporting Goods. The NCAA North Atlantic Conference and Husson University promote good sportsmanship by the student athletes, coaches, and spectators in today's contest. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated or grounds for removal from Boucher Field. At this time, let's meet the starting lineups for today's game. First, for the visiting Hornets. A senior midfielder, number 8, Isabelle Bourgeois. A junior attack, number 9, Summer Gilmet. A senior defender, number 17, Abigail Stacy. A sophomore attack, number 22, Alyssa Garish. A senior defender, number 27, Bridget DeNeo. In goal, a freshman, number 29, Olivia Woodard. And a junior defender, number 30, Kiara Mack. Lyndon is under the direction of head coach Paige Daly. And now, the starting lineup for your Husson University Eagles. A junior from Farmingdale, Maine, number 1, Avery Baker. A senior from Hyde Park, Vermont, number 5, Maddie Benoit. A senior from Georgia, Vermont, number 7, Sydney Heath. A junior from Baltimore, Maryland, number 10, Layla Martinez. A freshman from Shelburne, Vermont, number 11, Kate Bemke. A junior from Wildsburg, Vermont, number 12, Gracie Gardner. A senior from Reedfield, Maine, number 14, Natalie Witten. A senior from Concord, New Hampshire, number 15, Jordan Lengel. A senior from Richmond, Rhode Island, number 17, Montana Carrier. A sophomore from Goro, Maine, number 19, Riley Menard. In goal, a senior from Bucksport, Maine, number 23, Lacey Scanlon. And a sophomore from Corona, Maine, number 24, Jory Boyd. The Eagles are coached by Amanda DeHaze, and she's assisted by Caitlin Doloff. There'll be no national anthem.
Set to get underway here at Boucher Field, just shy of the starting lineups. Both teams geared up and ready to go. Max, this Eagles team on paper has quite the advantage over this team of the Hornets. They've played a few more games and have put up a lot more shots. So if you're the Hornets, what's the game plan looking like if you want to come out here?
I think you just come out swinging, right? You come out here with the confidence that you can come into this game, and despite your not having the amount of players that the Eagles have, and really not having enough to have a full roster out on the field, you go out there and believe in yourselves and your teammates and just do your very best to create shots and opportunities on offense and go from there, build off of that.
You know, I couldn't have said any better myself, Max. I mean, of course, the mismatch in this game is relatively prevalent. But, of course, I mean, it is March. Crazier things have happened in lacrosse. This time of year especially, it is very prevalent to see miracles be pulled out of nowhere. So you never know what could happen in this type of matchup. And as we're set to get underway, we got a little fun fact. We've got Jordan Lengel and Kiara Mack facing off to start out this game. These two faced each other a few times over the years playing basketball, as Mack is a multiple sport athlete for the Hornets, has played basketball and volleyball on top of her play for lacrosse. So a very versatile athlete and the head of this very talented Hornets offense. Ball control is up. Ball is still loose, nearly picked up by the Eagles and won by Maddie Benoit.
The Eagles rushing down the field quickly here. We'll see if they kind of do what they said they were going to do. Yep.
And just like that, Natalie Witten finds a cutting Gracie Gardner and quickly breaking the ice for the Eagles.
Within the first 14 seconds of the match, Gracie Gardner does a great job cutting across the field from one side to the other and wide open in front of the net with one-on-one opportunity with the goalie. She places it well and gives the Eagle the early lead here.
Goal number 1 for the game and goal number 3 on the season for Gracie Gardner, the junior out of Wilder, Vermont. A very, very good part of this Eagles team. A nice acquisition, has really come into her own this season, and is a very big, valuable piece and will be going forward. Once again, Lengel and Mack in the draw control circle here. Control is up. Benoit trying to track it down once again. Scrum is loose. Benoit again fighting right up. Natalie Wooden now, right-hand side.
It's going to be a similar play here.
Looking to control the pace. Right out. Bemke taken away by Mack. And Mack looking to do it all herself, going through a crowd of Eagles defenders. And she loses handle of the ball, gets it back, keeps it above her head. Very smart play to do. She's got that height advantage over most of these Eagles players. And Benoit whacks it away into the stick of Martinez.
Fast break opportunity now, and Layla Martinez, one of the fastest players on this Eagles squad, getting it going. Avery Baker and Gracie Gardner out in front.
The Eagles got numbers. Avery Baker takes it herself and gets to go.
Avery Baker adds to her scoring total. Make that number 14 on the year for Avery Baker, having herself a phenomenal junior season and really getting into it at the right time as the Eagles are going to start heading into conference play.
You mentioned it in the pregame, Max, that since arriving here at Husson, Baker has had her paw prints all over pretty much what seems like every single game since she made her debut in the green and the gold.
There's just some people who are naturally talented at the sport that they choose to play, and Avery Baker is certainly one of those players. Came in here and is over 100 goals now in her career at Husson in just her third year. I believe she got up to like 98 or 99 by the end of her sophomore campaign. And so to have just about 100 goals within 2 seasons, your first half of your career here, is pretty impressive.
Also dominated the turf in field hockey as well as Gardner tries to find a cutting win. She looks to scoop it up and gets it to go once again. 3 straight possessions results in 3 straight goals for the Eagles.
An underhand and almost backhand shot there from Witten. What a good job just finding the space in front of the net. They're doing a really good job here early on at getting bodies in front of the goaltender and behind the defense, and it's making for really, really easy shots up front.
And that was really amazing vision by Gracie Gardner. Found the cutting Witten towards the middle of the crease. Made a picture-perfect pass. And Witten just with little issue just scoring the goal. The Eagles a quick 3-0 lead here in the first minute of action here. Mackenlingle, ball is up once again. Scrum forward still loose, and Benoit tracks it down once again.
Benoit has been all over the draw controls early on, and Jordan Lingle's flipping it right to her every single time, and every single time she's been able to get her stick on it and set up in the offensive zone for the Eagles.
I had a chance to speak with Benoit earlier this week about, her kind of play this year. She's taken more of an attack approach to her game. And she's been playing mostly just more one-on-one coverages on defense, which she really has done throughout the year or throughout her years here at Husson. But she's taken to it very well. She's talking about how much she is just willing to learn and grow as a player. And if you're Coach DeHaze for the Eagles, that's definitely what you like to see out of your players.
And Maddie Benoit has just been so poised throughout her entire career. She's not necessarily worried about the stats and everything. She wants to be the best player possible, and that's why she's become a captain here in her 3rd and 4th seasons at Husson. She's in her last season here with the Eagles, and she's definitely looking to close it out on a high note as she gets it to go.
And right on cue, Benoit, with the incredible pass from Bemke, just flees it through the net.
Benoit, very similar to what Gracie Gardner did on the first possession there, the first goal, kind of just breaks inside behind the defense unnoticed, catches the ball and quickly puts it over the right-hand shoulder of the Hornets goaltender and increases this lead to 4 for the Eagles.
Now already a 4-0 game here at Boucher Field. The Eagles looking as sharp as ever. Of course, 1-4 this season to start out. Their last game was a loss to Bridgewater State, a 12-24 loss, Avery Baker had 3 goals in the game. Bemke had 2, and Martinez, Gardner, and Witten all had 2 goals as well.
These were games on their spring trip down in South Carolina, near the Myrtle Beach area, Hilton Head area, within those 2 cities. And I think the losses look a little bit bigger on paper than they actually are, Sam. They face some really tough competition down south, but it ultimately makes them a better team with the experience that they gain from those games.
Madeline Whitten looking to survey the defense now. Finds a cutting Bemke and flees it in the left-hand corner of the goal. And a quick 5-0 start here for your Eagles.
Eagles off to just an incredible start. 5 goals before even hitting the 3-minute mark in this first opening quarter. Now remember, Sam, if the Eagles at some point get a 10-point lead in this game, it will go to a running clock. So the Hornets definitely want to try and stop that and get something set up in the offensive end here.
I feel the Hornets are going to rely on Mack as well. I mean, she's really done a phenomenal job throughout the season just keeping the team in high spirits. She's their leading goal scorer as long as their leader in caused turnovers and is up there for ground balls as well. As the Eagles control the pace once again, Baker can't hold on to the pass from Whitten. Gets it back, scrum for the ball into the stick of Bemke. Eagles will reset. Here's Martinez.
Great effort by Avery Baker inside in front of that goal. Lost the ball several times, but was able to kick it out to where a teammate could get it and retain possession.
Jordan Lengel around the crease. Finds a cutting Baker. Turn it over the top, over across the middle to Benoit. Try to get it inside. Mack, the beautiful defensive play. As you can look to take it herself, going all the way, challenging pretty much every defender in her way. Looking to just hold on to it, loses the ball. Carrier trying to track it down into the stick of Whitten, nearly lost it again. And a fast break opportunity again for the Eagles. Whitten right-hand side, into the stick of Baker. Found a pass to Gardner, but blocked away by Woodward in the goal. Scooped up by Lengel. Eagles will reset.
I think you can expect the Eagles to kind of run down the clock once they get to that 10-point difference here. Start running down the shot clock and using all the time, really practicing what they've been doing in practice, but on a game level and really learning to master their plays.
So we got a free position opportunity for the Eagles. It'll be Gracie Gardner. Going to do it herself. Olivia Woodward in the goal. Passes it over to Martinez. She bounced it off and into the goal once again. And that's already now 6 different Eagles scoring in this first quarter.
You got to love the unselfishness from Gracie Gardner there. Saw that Martinez had a step on a defender, and instead of taking the shot for herself, dished it over to Martinez, who was able to lay it in for a much easier shot and up the score to 6-0.
And that's one thing we really need to appreciate about the Eagles is that up and down the bench, they've got players who can do pretty much anything you need them to. Coach Amanda DeHaze, of course, has to be very pleased with how her Eagles have come out and are completely soaring right now with a 6-0 lead here in the first period.
In the history of this matchup, the Eagles and Hornets have faced each other a total of 6 times. All 6 of those matchups going to the Eagles, and they're off to a good start on doing that again. Last matchup between these two teams, 20-4, the Eagles come away with a win, and Avery Baker with a 4-goal performance. Maddie Benoit also with a hat trick, and Gracie Gardner coming just 1 short of the hat trick, scoring 2 in that contest.
Yeah, this team is just incredibly deep all around. You've got players like Baker, Benoit, Bemke, Martinez, who are incredible scorers. We had another goal on the play. It looks like Gardner had another one. That's goal number 2 for her, and now a 7-point lead for the Eagles.
This Eagles team looking to figure out how to get through conference play again this year the way that they did last year. They had a pretty good conference record last year, and Amanda DeHaze preparing this team for another run. Remember, this team, Sam, went to the NAC conference semifinals last year and ended up losing that game. But still, they're a very talented team, and they've made some good recruitments throughout the last year, bringing in a bunch of players that are able to help them And I think this team really does believe that they have a chance to take on MMA and potentially steal a championship from them.
And when talking to Benoit earlier this week, there is some real history between those two teams as Lego shot just shy over the net. Husson and MMA, a very boisterous rivalry to say the least. There is a lot of history between these two teams. Benoit is chomping at the bit to play them on Tuesday. It should be a very fun matchup between two very high velocity and talented teams.
I'm so excited to call that game on Tuesday. Going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And yeah, Sam, I'll tell you from personal experience, and it's anybody who has played any sport here at Husson will tell you the same thing. There's conference teams that, there's the conference rivalry, right? But going up against MMA, it almost feels different. It feels personal a lot of the time. These two teams do not really like each other all that much.
It's right on cue. The freshman Reese Sullivan, off the assist from Benoit, fleezes her first goal of the year. Freshman out of Windsor, Maine, on the free play opportunity, just got to her spot and ripped it through the strings.
And you love to see that. Getting these other players involved. Sullivan with her very first goal of her career. You saw how excited the sideline and everybody else on the field was for her. Very exciting moment to score your first goal.
As we talked about during the men's game earlier today, like how close and tight-knit the men's team is. It's very much the same scenario with the women's team as well. It's like one big happy family on the sideline. They're always cheering each other on, always being super supportive and encouraging. It is very fun to watch and very blessing to see.
I know. You never hear anything negative about anything from these players. They all have such a love for each other. Whether you're making plays or maybe you make a mistake on the field, the love is the same all the time.
Indubitably, Max. Now we got a turnover for the Hornets. It would go back to the Eagles. And it just seems like whenever the Hornets have any opportunity to just kind of control the play or control the ball on the offensive side, it just goes right back to the Eagles. Of course, being a few moments short is not helping that. As the ball is worked around into the stick of Whitten. Just kind of survey the defense, looking to see where she's got. Try to find a cutting Sarah Louise. And nearly put in by the checked-in Madison Lower. Looks like a yellow on the play.
Yeah, they're going to say that there was a penalty before the shot there. So I wonder who the shot will end up going to. It might be Lower. Still taking the shot. And it will be.
Yellow card goes to Alyssa Garris. She'll be on the sideline. We have a woman up opportunity for the Eagles.
On the other side of the field, you can see Sarah Louise pretty wide open. I wonder if they'll try and get it to her on a cutting pass.
Lower trying to do it herself. Good heads-up awareness by Olivia Woodward to knock it away. Into the stick of Sullivan. Bring it around is the Eagles. Emily Pomerlew lost the stick into the stick of Sullivan once again, and she fleeces it through the left-hand corner of the goal.
Not a bad game for Sullivan, getting her first two career goals back-to-back, bringing the score up to 9-0.
And it's been all Husson in this first period, just doing whatever they want on offense. And, of course, the Hornets facing kind of an uphill battle here with the lack of teammates on the field today. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to respond against a team like the Eagles, who have been so dominant and play so fast throughout the year. Of course, we mentioned 1-4 on the year, but sometimes the overall record does not reflect how a team actually plays on the field.
Yeah, because when you play those teams that are out of conference, especially the ones that play at higher conferences than you, especially down south, right, where lacrosse has become so popular and so competitive, the 1-4 record does not really show what this team is made of. That's why I say the games matter, but they don't matter until the conference play.
Mack looking to do it all herself. Loses the ball on a swarm of Eagles defenders and ends up into the stick of Maddie Benoit. And another fast break opportunity for the Eagles. Into the stick of Sarah Louise. She's got numbers. One woman to beat. Take it all the way herself. Shifty move and nearly just over the goal. And we'll stay here with Husson. The shot opportunity keeps it on this side of the field. And Whitten will reset.
There's Garish making a good play. to force Luis's hands high, and it ultimately made the shot go high.
Trying to find a cutting Woodward, and Louise bounced it into the goal. And that's now 8 different Eagles now that have scored in this game.
And we've reached that 10-goal lead. So now the clock starts to run without play. 7:30 remaining in the first quarter. And Sarah Louise on that last one, so she missed the first shot just high because of the good defense from Alyssa Garish. They go right back to her, and that time she capitalizes and gets her first goal of her career.
A decade now on the point for the Eagles. A quick 10-0 lead here in this first period now. We'll see how they're able to just keep the momentum rolling here. Of course, Coach Days has to be pretty impressed with the performance of her team right now. Everything just kind of clicking on all cylinders. As Benoit once again just seems like whenever the draw control goes up, she's right there to clean up that ball.
Second nature for those two right now. Lengel flicks it up, and Benoit comes in and catches it and sets it up in the offense. It's been the same thing for 10 straight face-offs now.
Greatest combination since Kobe and Shaq. As the shot right there, by Sullivan again. Looks like she's got a hat trick. Yes, she does. Coming off the bench, coming into this game, no goal scored throughout the year. Already has a hat trick in the first period of this game, Max.
Yeah, very impressive, and you got to believe that the team's happy for her, and she's happy for herself. Seeing some time in this game and scoring a hat trick, being the first one to score a hat trick in this game for the Eagles. And on top of that, just helping to increase this lead for the Eagles as we get a timeout here.
We get a timeout by the Hornets. We'll take a quick 1-2, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Right out the timeout here, Eagles up 11-0 with just under 6 left to play in this first period of action. And Max, we got some pretty impressive stats here, and we just come to realize from our production team up here that Maddie Benoit is 4 draw controls away from the record in a game for the Eagles.
Wow, that's impressive. And in the first quarter as well, to be able to be that close to a record. Very impressive. She has been in on all of them. Every draw control so far, she has had some part in maintaining the possession for the Eagles. It'll be interesting to see if she can break that record today.
The way that she and Lingle are psychically connected right now, I would not be surprised if they broke that record relatively soon. Just the way that they've been able just to get those draw controls. And with Benoit in particular, it just seems like she's always in the right place at the right time, regardless of the matchup. Whenever someone's in that draw control circle, she's always the first one to the ball, whether she gets it or not.
That comes with just being a veteran on this team. You start to understand that stuff, where your best positioned is on the field, and she knows it like the back of her hand at this point.
Woodward just chucks the ball away, gets it into the stick of Kaylee Crocker, seeing some action here. Has played 3 games, has not scored a goal. As Natalie Whitten will take control now for the Eagles offense. Circling around the crease is Benoit. She'll find a woman, that's Finley Pomerleau. Cutting across, there's Madison Lower. Eagles just continuing to work the ball around in a very, very solid way here. Just practicing some passing drills right now. As Lower can't hang on to the ball, into the stick of Sullivan, who has the hat trick and the hot hand early on in this first period. Gets it over to Louise.
Eagles doing a good job using the shot clock here, kind of passing it around and trying to manipulate this defense to get themselves an open shot.
Just notice how they're always cutting. There's always constant movement for the Eagles as Benoit rifles it through off the cut from the middle. Just right on cue. They're always moving, and right into the middle of the field, Benoit goes and just fleezes it through for goal number 12.
The Eagles have done an incredible job finding a way to get players behind the defense in a spot where the shot's really wide open, and Benoit does it that time, cutting in behind the D and doing a really nice job securing that catch and putting the ball in the back of the net for her second of the game.
Not only the second of the game, but the second of this season as well for Benoit. Normally, last year she was among the top 4 in goals for the Eagles. This year taking more of a backseat role, but that's just kind of the player Benoit is. Just a player who's, like you said, Max, not concerned about personal stats, but more focused on the main thing, and that's team success.
Yeah, team success has always been the most important to Maddie Benoit, and you can tell just in the way that she plays. But I'm sure she doesn't mind that she's putting up some goals here now, her third of the season in that one.
Yeah, I don't think you hear her complain about scoring a goal in any sort of capacity, as the Eagles once again controlling the offensive side of the ball. As Sydney Heth, who we normally see on the defensive side of the ball, is now taking some time on the offensive side.
Oh, why not? Work everybody in on all positions at this point.
Get everybody some good experience. As Lower tried to corral the pass, can't get that one to fall. Falls out and into the stick of Olivia Woodward. And notice how every time Woodward gets the ball in the goal, there's always at least one Eagle right there just to kind of, take away her vision. That time it was Riley Maynard in her face. As the ball is scooped up by Benoit, and the Eagles again will reset their offense. As Benoit circles it back around into the stick of Heth. Heth looking to make a move. Drives around the right-hand side. Flips it over to Lower. It's Pomerleau back over to Benoit. Heth around the backhand side of the crease. Tried to do it herself. Lost the ball. Scooped up by Mack. An opportunity for the Hornets. Mack double-teamed on the play. Benoit right there smacks it away, and that's what Benoit does. As the Eagles will reset once again, Max.
Yep, Eagles working well around the crease here, and as soon as they turned the ball over, they were quick to jump on in front of Mack and force another turnover to keep the ball in this end of the field.
We're continuing to share the rock. Maynard finds Louise on the left-hand side. This will be Benoit behind the crease, looking to work it around the right-hand side, just surveying the defense, trying to find any holes. Louise will get it right back. Just taking her time here, looking to see the defense will be. Finds a cutting woman over across the middle. Good defense by the Hornets. Heth finds a cutting Benoit. Thought about the shot, took it back out. Taking her time, gets it over to a woman. Maynard tried to scoop it in right off the pass. Nothing happening there. Benoit circling around the crease once again. Just under a minute left to play here in this first period. As Louise now That's a cutting woman. There's Maynard, and she just fleeces it in off the left-hand side of the goal.
Maynard with her first goal of the season. A lot of firsts here for some players on this team. Last year, Maynard finished with 3 goals in 11 games played, and that was all that she had in her career, as she is a sophomore. Last year was her first year, managed to get 3 goals, and now she's got her first of the season this year.
Yeah, a lot of first timers for this Eagles team. Reese Sullivan coming into this game with no goals on the year now, a hat trick in this first period. Now Riley Maynard getting in on the action with a goal of her own. Like we talked about, this team is just so deep up and down the bench. As that's going to take us to the second period, the Eagles with a 13-0 lead over the Hornets of Vermont State Lyndon. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Second period of action just set to get underway. Eagles up 13-0 throughout this game. Max, we've seen a lot of good things from the Eagles in this game, but really the offensive control has been their be-all, end-all.
Yeah, they've kept the ball in their end of the field pretty much the entire game. The time of possession is miles and miles apart, light years apart. I think we've seen the Hornets take it down into their end for a few seconds off of Eagles turnovers, but other than that, we've really seen the Eagles control the ball the most time, as Benoit with another draw control pickup.
That puts her at 9 now for the game, 3 away from her record. As the Eagles now, other side of the field, will look to just pass the ball around and just look for that one little crease in the Hornets defense. Eagles going with their starting lineup from the first half of this game. Winner on the backhand side finds Benoit behind the crease, or in the crease behind the goal. Bemke, Martinez, and Gardner all passing it around, just sharing the love over to Lengel. When now just looking for an opportunity. Here's Baker, who's been relatively quiet throughout this game so far. With the amount of damage your teammates are doing right now, really has not made too much of a difference.
Yeah, Baker sat on the sideline for a little bit and kind of let everybody else get a chance to hammer home some goals, but she's back out there, and I would not be surprised to see her take another shot at the net.
as she finds a cutting Benoit around the right-hand side of the goal. Eagles keep working it around. Gardner found a cutting Whitten. Thought about the shot, but just pulled it back out. Just out of caution. Here's Whitten once again. Finds a cutting Benoit. Can hang on to the ball, but gets it right back. Shot clock down to 10. Eagles got to hurry here. Bemke finds a cutting woman. And was swatted away by Woodward. Kicked out. And that's going to do it. Shot clock violation. Good defensive stance right there from the Hornets, Max.
Yeah, real good defensive stance. They did a good job ensuring that a shot was not taken. They filled the middle of the field a little bit better, the middle of the shooting circle better this time around, and prevented shots from happening.
Going to try to control the ball here. This is Alyssa Garish looking to make something happen here. The ball is popped free and taken control by the Eagles once again. Gardner fighting Bemke at the top. Finds Benoit. The ball movement continues to be spread around between these Eagles. Langle thought about the cutting player. Finds Gardner on the backhand side. Gardner circling around. Here comes Bemke. Behind the goal.
You just see the Eagles continuing to cut through the lane. Benoit thought about it for a second.
The pass goes into the stick of Lengel. Still plenty of time to go. Lengel looking to do it herself. It's over to Whitten. Benoit. Bemke at the top. Back over to Whitten. Baker cutting into the middle. Thought about the goal. Decided to take it back out behind the goal once again. Over to Bemke. Tried to fight a cutting Martinez. Nothing happening there, but Benoit right there to clean up the mess. Lengel circles around. Found Martinez, and then Whitten at the top once again. Eagles just passing the ball around. Benoit went for the shot. Couldn't get it to go. And Woodward again, a nice heads-up reaction play. As Baker tried to find a cutting Benoit across the middle. Nothing there. Picked up by Lengel. As she got whacked. Lengel gets it back from Whitten. Is continuing to survey the defense. This is another great defensive stance from the Hornets, not making anything easy for the Eagles.
The Eagles working it around well, too, using all of that shot clock before eventually taking a shot here. But 33 seconds left on the clock. You got to expect that they're going to use most of it and really work on their passing here.
Looks like someone got whacked on the play. So it looks like we have a free position opportunity. This will be Baker with the ball. Would not be surprised if she just let this ball rip as soon as the whistle blows.
We'll see. No, she'll pass it off.
Pass it off to Lengel. And looks like that shot was good to go.
Is that
waiting for? Yep, it's confirmed.
Gracie Gardner,
excuse me. Yeah, great reaction play from Gardner. Just cut it right across the middle. Baker with a nice vision. And found Gardner for, I believe, that's Gracie Gardner now, the second Eagle with a hat trick in this one.
I wonder who will be the next. Got a lot of really good talent on this team. We already saw Reese Sullivan hit that mark, and Maddie Benoit's at 2 goals. I wonder if they'll try to get her the hat trick, get the captain the hat trick.
A whole smattering of substitutions for these Eagles. We got Maddie McSweeney. We got Montana Carey, who started, still in the game right now, along with Madison Lower. Martinez and Lengel still in there as well, along with Kaylee Crocker.
Here's some possession in the offensive end.
Finley Pomelo as Mac once again corralling the ball, but the Eagles defense still swarming as always. Mac trying to corral it. And against the swarm of Eagles defenders, continues to have great control of the ball. She looks to do it herself, looking for some options here.
Lacey Scantlin might see some action in the goal.
And Mac got whacked by Lower. It'll stay here. We got a green card on Lower.
So what would normally be a power play, it is an advantage for the Hornets based on there's less Eagles out there now, but they don't have that same woman up opportunity that the Eagles would have had.
Max swarmed by both McSweeney And Kaylee Crocker on the right-hand side lost the ball, but gets it back from a teammate. Cuts across the middle, looking to do it herself, and she fleeces it in. Kiara Mack, a brilliant cut across the middle, gets away from the defense, and rifles it home through the goal.
Kiara Mack did that all herself, taking it not necessarily coast to coast, but maintained possession and brought it down the field. Had it a few passes here and there, but ultimately received it back, found her way through the defenders, and gave Lyndon their first goal of the game.
That's got to feel good for the Hornets after coming out in this game, going down 13-0 early in that first period. Finally getting something to go. Kiara Mack has been doing that for this Hornets team for so long now. She's been the focal point of this team in so many different ways, just a locker room leader and their go-to person to whenever they need some points on the board. As it looks like Mack is a little shaken up on the play, rocking that brace on her knee. She is visibly shaking up, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
So they'll change up the face-off here.
It'll be Lengel and number 9, Summer Gilmet.
A violation here on the Hornets, so Eagles will get possession regardless.
Lengel continuing just to move the ball up. Here's Martinez. Over to Sarah Louise. Eagles just continuing to move the ball around very, very well. They know their spots very well on the field. It seems like whenever somebody moves out of a spot, it just seems like they're filling the gaps very, very quickly and very strong. As Crocker mishandled the ball, but is able to get it back over to Maynard. Here's Louise. And over to Finley Pomerleau. Here's Chelsea Curtis getting some action here. Has only played one game throughout this year, as has Pomerleau. And Martinez continuing to move the ball around. Here comes Pomerleau at the top. As they're cutting Kaylee Crocker out to the backhand side. Here's Martinez to the back of the goal. Tries to find a cutting Louise. Lost the handle. Picked up by Mack.
Another good defensive stand from Mack. It's going to get thrown away, though, and here's an opportunity.
That was Emma Began trying to fleece it away, but scooped up and corralled by Lengel. She's going to circle around. She's got room to operate. Looking to do it herself. But finds a woman on the backhand side. And here's Martinez. And the Eagles will reset their offense. The Hornets, Max, have had some really good defensive stances throughout this game.
Yeah, they've done well in the second quarter of kind of forcing the Eagles to work outside. The Cutters are still finding their way in, but not a lot of passing inside, as there is one right there, but a good save made.
That was Abigail Stacy for the Hornets, making a great reaction play and breaking up that play in the middle. So Martinez gets the pass from Lengel, and that one scooped in. On the pass from Martinez, that was Louise cutting towards the middle and bouncing it off the turf for yet another goal for the Eagles.
And Louise finds her way inside. I was given the Hornets credit for not really allowing that, but Louise able to sneak in behind the defense again. That's something that's really been the theme of the game for the Hornets defense, is allowing these players to find their way behind them, and they capitalize, and it's 15-1 here in the second quarter.
Right place, right time for Sarah Louise. That's goal number 2 for her this season, and goal number 2 for her in this game. A lot of new players getting some time to shine here in this game, and it just goes to show just how good Coach DeHaze is at scouting talent and how deep this Eagles team is up and down their roster, and how dangerous they will be, not only in conference play, but in the playoffs.
Yeah, finding a lot of really good talent down the line here, and you lose a bunch of players, and they will again after this season, and you need somebody, or a lot of somebodies to come in and step up and take those positions and kind of build this squad up, keep them at the level that they're at, and Amanda DeHaze doing a really good job of ensuring that this team stays really strong after these seniors leave.
Chelsea Curtis had numbers, but the Hornets' great job of getting back, playing good transition defense and slowing down any fast break opportunities. So here come the Eagles once again. Louise trying to handle the pass. Could not hang on to it, though, from Kaylee Crocker. That's going to go back to the Hornets.
Pressured real quickly here. The double team comes out. No whistle. Eagles set back up.
Yeah, Alyssa Garris just had to toss it behind her head because of the defense of the Eagles. And once again, the Eagles just showcasing why they're so dominant on both sides of the ball. Just playing an absolute clinic. By that time, that pass mishandled by Began cannot be controlled by Jory Boyd. It'll go back to the Hornets.
Hornets got to try and figure out a way to get this cleared here. They're immediately double teamed, and it's going to be a real hard position to get out of. The ball falls out. I think this is still going to be Hornets ball, though. I think it was last touched by Kaylee Crocker.
Yep, it will stay with the Hornets, so it'll be Kiara Mack looking to find an open teammate.
Honestly, one of the best things they probably do is just lay it out in front, right? Like kind of lob it up and hope that it falls in a position where a Hornets player can pick it up and run it back down the field, because this pressure from the Eagles has really made it impossible for Mack to find a way through, and she's really been the reason that they've even been down in the offensive zone.
Mack just had to throw it away. She was trying to find a cutting Isabelle Bourgeois, but nothing happening there. And the Eagles defense, again, continuing to put on a clinic and with so much pressure and force, like you said, on Mack, who's had the only goal for the Hornets in this game and is just the focal point for their team. Eagles not making anything easy for her throughout this game, as we're just under 2.5 minutes left to play here in the second period. If you're just joining us, Husson up 15-1 over the Hornets of Vermont State Lyndon. It's been a tale of some up-and-coming shining players, as Gracie Gardner and Reese Sullivan with 3 goals apiece in this game, Benoit with 2 of her own, and a smattering of others from this Eagles team, Max.
Yeah, just an absolute clinic from the Eagles, scoring pretty much at will when they got players in front of the net. They've found a really good strategy of hiding players behind the defense and cutting them in and getting the ball to them. But good job by the Hornets this time, making a stop there.
Guillemette got the turnover, but then immediately lost the ball, as the Eagles have just completely controlled the offensive side of the field today. Just continuing to work the ball around, as we're just over a minute and a half left to play in this first half.
The Eagles making good work of the shot clock here, doing a really nice job using all the time on the clock. They're not necessarily taking shots on every single possession either. I think it's really good for them to work on practicing these plays, even if they don't shoot, but they do there.
And cutting across the middle. We're trying to get a number on the field.
That's number 22. Was that?
Emma.
Wow, Emma getting some time on the offense. I didn't even notice her out there.
And oohing and ahhing, how about that? Emma Began normally playing in the goal, but getting her first goal in the year.
I believe that may be her first career goal as well. Congrats to Emma Biggs on that goal. First of the season at least, but I think that might be the first of her career.
Clock continues to tick away as the Eagles scored 10 points in that first period. It is now 16-1 for these Eagles. And of course, if you're the Hornets, it's not exactly the way you wanted to come out, of course. Being a few women down on your roster with some injuries, it's never a good thing. And of course, fatigue is going to set in very fast in this kind of circumstance. As the clock winds down to 0, that's going to take us to halftime. The Eagles putting on a show with a 16-1 lead over the Hornets of Vermont State Lyndon. We'll take a break for halftime, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Back in action here for the third quarter between the Husson University Eagles and the Vermont State Lyndon Hornets. Husson holding a 16-1 lead here in this one. Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Sam Miller, joined alongside Max Sturm. Max, we've seen a lot of good things from the Eagles today. Basically, it seems like everybody on the field has been involved in some shape or form in putting some points on the board. So if you're the Eagles, just continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I think you just do exactly what you were doing. Really focus on getting some practice and, moving the ball around, using that entire shot clock, and finally putting the ball in the back of the net to finish off the shot clock. They've had possession pretty much the entire time. We've seen not a lot of action on the other side besides the fields flipping back and forth for the quarters. So we'll see how they go ahead and approach this one. Maddie Benoit real close to that single game draw controls record. She's at 9 right now. The record is 12. We'll see if she gets it to close this one out.
Now we got Lacey Scanlon, who was starting in the goal. Now we have Emma Began, who scored her first goal in this game. She will now be starting in the goal for this second half as the Eagles win the draw control. That's now 10 draw controls for Benoit. She's 2 away from the record, 3 away from breaking the record, as the Eagles continuing to move the ball around. Martinez finds Benoit near the top. Simple passing by the Eagles, just letting the passing run its course, just looking for those open opportunities in this Hornets defense.
Hornets defense playing a little bit more sloughed in this third quarter here. Not as much cutting through the middle, though the Eagles are still attempting to do that.
You see Lengo trying to do it herself. Thought about the shot, pulled it back out. Finds Martinez. Here's Avery Baker, who, as we talked about, leading goal scorer for the Eagles, has been relatively quiet. Scored 1 in this game, but since then has not really seen too much action. And she cuts across the middle, brings it back out, finds Martinez, finds a cutting Lengel. And the basketball connection from Lengel and Martinez is a beautiful goal for the Eagles.
Yeah, that was an alley-oop right there and into a one-timer shot from Jordan Lengel, who gets that one to go, extends the lead even further out for the Eagles. Really, everyone's getting a chance to score here today. I mean, we just saw Emma Began score, which is such a rarity. She's almost never out of the net.
Come on and slam and welcome to the jam, folks. That was a great assist by Martinez to set up Lengel. And the score continues to soar for the Eagles, as it's now 17-1 here at Boucher Field. Draw control is won by the Hornets. Summer Guillemette losing the handle, taken away by, looks like it's Lengel, pushing the pace. She'll slow it down. Finds it cutting Wynn across the middle, drinks it back out. Over to Wynn, looking to make a woman miss here. Just surveying the field.
Wynn also getting close to that assist record for a single game. She's at 5 right now. The single game record is 8. I think she could get it.
See what happens here. Of course, the Eagles looking for all sorts of records today, but credit to the Hornets defense so far. Outside of that one goal, the start of this third period, a lot more tenacity in terms of keeping the ball away from the crease. Now, here's Baker, finds a cutting Gardner, one of 2 Eagles who had a hat trick in that first half, along with Reese Sullivan. Lengel cutting across the middle, couldn't hang on to the ball. She got whacked, loses her stick.
So this should be a free position shot.
Yep, we got a green card on the play. That's going to go against Alyssa Garish. And it'll be Lengel with the opportunity for the free position.
I love seeing the creativity that they've had on these free position shots. Like, normally you think most people are going to drive in and just immediately shoot it. They've passed it around to find the better shots. We saw Witten give it up earlier, I believe, to Layla Martinez, who was able to get a much easier shot on the other side instead of having to face that goalie one-on-one from the corner over there.
As we await the whistle, Lengel, we'll see what she does here. Lengel just lets it fly off the left-hand post, but then corrals her own miss. Lengel this year, 5 goals on the season. She's not the go-to source of offense, but she can definitely light you up if you leave her any opportunity to do so.
I remember during the Bates game, so we're going to have an opportunity there. Wow, behind the back shot.
Martinez got a little bit flashy right there.
I remember earlier this year watching Jordan Lingle play against the Bates College or against Bates College, and down on the other side of the field, she let it rip from like almost the restraining line as the shot clock ran down, and somehow got it to go. It was a laser of a shot, so she can produce on offense. Like you said, not the main source of offense. She's more kind of doing that draw control, but she can assist, she can score, she can do it all.
Witten tried again with a little behind-the-back shot. That time, no good there. 0 for 2, but then gets it back from a teammate. I think that was Baker on the assist. And Witten scoring the goal and increasing the lead once again for the Eagles.
I believe that to be Witten's second goal in this game.
Husson goal scorer number 14, Natalie Witten. Assist number 1, Avery Baker.
Yeah, that was Witten's second goal of the game, and that puts her at 7 on the year.
That on top of the 5 assists that she has in this game gets her up to 7 total points.
Attack player from the senior out of Reedfield, Maine. She's really a very versatile player for this Eagles team. Not only can she produce points by scoring you goals, but she's really good at finding her open teammates, cutting across the middle or anywhere on the field.
Yeah, she doubled her assists today that she came in with. She came in with 5 on the season, now up to 10. That puts her as the assist leader now, and 7 total goals puts her into the 3rd spot for the Eagles as far as goal leaders go. The Eagles, and really just Husson in general today, we've seen a lot of points scored. You remember that first game, what we saw out of Kieran Field? 7 goals.
7 goals from a freshman in 9 games. We've talked about it in that last broadcast, but it's just absolutely mind-boggling and phenomenal all at the same time.
Yeah, he's up to well over 40 goals now on the season as a freshman, 10 games in with still the majority of conference play remaining this season. The men's team really, we talked about it in the last broadcast, the men's team really has a good chance this year, I think, of competing with Delhi and MMA. They've got some things to sort out on either end, but most teams do, and they've done a really good job. I think that they could make a run, as well as the women's team. I think they could make a good run too.
As for the women as well, I mean, they also got a really big chance in conference play. Of course, the MMA game on Tuesday, which you and our good friend and colleague Avery Henningsen will be calling in that game. So that should be a very fun matchup to watch out for. Of course, we talked to Maddie Benoit, and she is geared up and fired up for that game as well. And when someone when someone like Benoit, who is very competitive in nature, when you could hear from the way she talked and her composure when she was talking to us that she is just absolutely so ready for that game.
We've discussed what earlier in this broadcast what the MMA rivalry is, and it's not just any other rivalry. It is personal between these two teams, but whether you're talking about lacrosse or basketball or really any other sport, it is a personal rivalry. And so, yeah, it makes sense that the captain wants to get everybody hyped up and psyched up for that game.
As Kiara Mack doing it all herself. Cleans the clock of Gracie Gardner as she takes a stumble. That'll be a foul on Mack, so it'll go back to the Eagles. The Eagles continuing to move the ball. That time mishandled by Chelsea Curtis. It'll be scooped up by Lacey Scanlon, who started this game in the goal, now getting some shine on the offensive side of the field.
Yeah, why not get both goalies a chance to work on the offensive side? We already saw Emma Beegs get her first goal earlier today. Why not give Lacey Scantlin a chance?
A lot of young talent on this side for the Eagles as well. I mean, you got so many players, like we said, up and down the bench throughout this broadcast that are just so versatile and can just fill in any gaps that the team needs them to. And that's what's going to make them very scary, not only this season, but just the remaining seasons in the future. As Mack corrals the ball once again, and it seems like everywhere she goes, there's at least 2 Eagles defenders just right on her hip, trying to find some sort of help on the offensive side. We're just trying to control the ball, but nothing happening there. Ball is still loose as Lower took a shot to the face.
It'll be another penalty or green card here.
Now that's Abigail Stacy going to the sideline on the green card. Or yellow card, excuse me. And so it will be low. Yep, it will be lower. Yellow card on Stacy, so she is in the penalty box for a bit. Now we'll see if the Eagles can take advantage. Curtis working the ball around to McSweeney.
They're just continuing to use that shot clock, use it all. They've had several opportunities inside the shooting circle. Chose not to shoot, but that's on the outside of the net.
Yep, just right on the outside. The shot from Madison Lower, that time scooped up by Riley Maynard. Trying to turn it around outside. Finds a cutting woman. She was trying to find Scanlon cutting. Saved by Maynard, though, and the possession continues for these Eagles. Cutting woman across the middle. That was Pomerleau, but into the stick of Scanlon. Finds McSweeney. She'll try to do it herself. Takes it into the middle. Tried to drop it off. Nothing happening there. Good defense by the Hornets. Ball is loose. And then it'll be scooped up by Benoit on the outside. Here's Scanlon. Maynard with it now, trying to find a woman. Time into the hands of McSweeney. This time Pomerleau. Harassed by the defense. Into the stick of Scanlon. Mack right in her grill. Pomerleau sets the screen.
There's a nice feed inside.
And a shot is up and in by Madison Lower. That's her first goal of the game. And her third goal of the season.
Madison Lower getting an opportunity to shoot inside. She had one earlier. It went just wide, hit the side of the net. This time, able to capitalize and add a goal and become... How many scores do the Eagles have at this point? I think a huge portion of the roster has at least seen one goal. Madison Lower adding to that here in the third period.
With Lower scoring in that play, that now makes 11 Eagles who have scored at least one goal in this game.
Wow. Of
course, spearheading that is the junior Gracie Gardner with a hat trick, and Reese Sullivan, the freshman, with a hat trick of her own. And adding on to that, Maddie Benoit's got 2 goals. Sarah Louise has 2 goals. Wynn's got 2. Lengel scored. Bemke, Martinez, Baker, and Lauer have all scored a goal as well. It's an all-around incredible game for the Eagles up and down the roster.
Here's an opportunity. And it's taken away, but maybe a penalty or a foul or violation rather than it is. Hornets need to work this quickly. Getting forced out to the edge right away.
Guillemette harassed by the Eagles. Loses the ball, and the Eagles again just not making anything easy, despite the fact that the Hornets are a few women down on the roster today. The Eagles are relentless. As Crocker tried to force it across the middle, can't get it to go, and it gets into the stick of Olivia Woodward. Good. You like to see the aggressiveness of the freshman Crocker, just no hesitation in that area. Nonetheless, it'll result in the ball being loose. Guillemette looking to scoop it up. And here come the Hornets, potentially with some possession time with them.
Trying to find the feed over the middle there. Just a little bit too far in front. Eagles will pick it back up and set back up in the offensive zone.
Maddie McSweeney looking to push the pace. Ball ends up to the side, into the stick of Chelsea Curtis, who works it around. Here comes Pomerleau. McSweeney tried to dump it in. Woodward, a good reaction play to save the goal. Sweeney knocking it away. Ball is still loose. There's a scrum for it. Ball is knocked away. Still fighting. It's still loose. It's kicked. It's grabbed. Now it's eventually picked up by Palmerloo into the hands of Montana Carrier. Palmerloo puts it cutting Curtis into the stick of McSweeney. He gets it to go. Great ball movement by the Eagles. And Maddie McSweeney, her first goal of the year.
Maddie McSweeney with a slap shot in the air. Is able to find the back of the net for the first time today, becoming the 12th scorer for the Eagles in this game.
And a phenomenal setup by Lacey Scanlon as well. She saw McSweeney coming across the middle, just flung that pass in there like the Magic Johnson of Lacrosse, and just set up Maddie McSweeney with a beautiful goal.
Yeah, Scanlon with her first assist of the season. We're seeing her a lot more on the offensive side here today. She's usually either playing defense or is in goal, but they're giving her some opportunity considering the Eagles' lead here. Getting a lot more people or players involved up on the offensive side, as that's where the balls remain most of the day.
It'll be Carrier and Mack in the draw control circle, taken away by Crocker. And play will resume. Crocker looking to push the pace again for the Eagles.
Good feed inside.
And that one's good as well. That was Jory Boyd off the incredible pass from Crocker. And the lead continues to blossom for the Eagles.
Make that 13 scorers on the day for the Eagles in this one. Jory Boyd getting her very first goal. She missed some time last year, last played in 2023, and that will be her first career goal.
And you can hear the silence of the Eagles just getting the celebration and the hype that came with that goal by Jory Boyd. They know how much that means to her. And you saw Sydney Heath, as soon as she scored the goal and got onto the field, met her with a big hug on the other side of the ball. As the clock will continue to run, the Eagles have broken the lead to over 20 now in this game. And the clock will continue to run. And folks, that's going to take us to our final period of action here. The Eagles with a 21-1 lead over the Vermont State Lyndon Hornets. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Husson Eagles Sports Network. Fourth and final period of action here. The Eagles up 21-1 over the Hornets of Vermont State Lyndon. Max, with a 20-point lead, a comeback at this capacity is, relatively, it's more likely not going to happen. So if you're the Hornets, how do you want to close out this game?
I think you just try to get the ball into the offensive end. We haven't really seen much of that. Possession has been entirely with the Eagles this entire game. The only time the ball's really seen the other side of the field is when the fields flip for each quarter. So just trying to get the ball into the offensive end and make something of it. They've had one goal, but other than that, zero offensive success so far in this one for Lyndon.
This time it was Bemke and Mack in the draw control center, and Mack will control this one for the Hornets. Gets it back from Guillemette. Again, just absolutely swarmed by the Eagles defense. This time picked up by Montana Carrier and into the stick of Baker. And here comes Finley Pomerleau. She's looking to push the pace. Eagles, another fast break opportunity. Pomerleau thought about it, bringing it back out. Over to Sydney Heth. Loses control of the ball.
Sydney Heth was going to take that shot, too.
No, she was primed and ready for that shot as well.
Sydney Heth with just one goal on her career. Would love to see another one in her senior season here at Husson.
Had to get one of those locker room presences that anybody would be fortunate enough to have on their team. She'll take this one out. She'll be in front of the stick of a Vermont player. Ball intercepted by Crocker. Taking it over the middle. Crocker looking to do it herself, and she gets to that one to go. Just chips that one right in, right up the cut of the middle.
14 goal scorers for the Eagles now on 22 goals. Turning this into a 21-point lead.
It's been a very one-sided affair in this one. The Eagles just showcasing their offensive firepower and their dominance on defense. Coach DeHaze has to be very impressed with how their team is playing. And as we talked about during this broadcast, with a matchup against MMA coming up next week, they're going to need all the momentum they can get.
Yeah, and this is why it's super important to practice your offensive plays down in that end. They've done a good job using the majority of the shot clock and using that time to practice cutting through, practice making those feeds inside. Even if they're not going to shoot every time, it's still great practice and in preparation for this huge game against MMA.
There was a foul on the play on Benoit. That would have put her one away from tying the goal, the record for her draw controls in the game.
Guess no penalty or violation there at all. Here's an opportunity. Fast break.
Yeah, this is Whitten looking to take it across the middle. Tried to find a cutting Heth. Again, she was ready to put that thing into the net if she had the chance.
Pass just a little bit too far behind her. They definitely want to get her a shot.
So that's what they're trying to do. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw the rest of the seniors get involved as well. Heth and as well as Montana Carrier, one of the other captains for this Deep Eagles team.
You watch, they're gonna swarm in real quick here and force it out. That'll be an easy pickup for McSweeney, for Lacey Scantlin out there. Yes.
Whitten looking for a woman on the offensive side of the field. Tried to find Carrier at the top. I think I'd be there, corralled by Kaylee Crocker. It went into the middle. She was trying to find Lindsay Pomerleau, but it's into the stick of Woodward.
Some substitutions coming in now, lower, and Boyd back in.
As is Sarah Louise as well. Looks like Benoit was going to the bench, but she will stay out there. Looks like she is going to be going. She's going to try to go for that draw control record. Carrier now. Just over the stick of Curtis. Langwell trying to track it down. Good job. Good hustle play to track down the ball, saving a turnover opportunity. Lacey Scanlon, right-hand side, looking to circle around once again into the stick of Natalie Whidden. Tried to find a cutting woman. That was Pomerleau, but this one ends up into the stick of Sydney Heth. And looking for some options here, finds Pomerleau at the top. Eagles patiently just waiting it out. Just 10.5 minutes left to play here in this game. Back over to Pomerleau. With now the assist leader for these Eagles in this game. Looking to find any sort of opportunity here for her team. You see a lot of cuts from Carrier and Heth. Carrier across the middle, can't hang on to the ball. And tracked down by Alyssa Garish. Just going for it once again. Chelsea Curtis coming away with it. Another opportunity for these Eagles. Carrier finding Pomerleau. Running across the middle. Tries to do it herself. Good play by Woodward to knock it away. But scooped up by Lengel.
Pass over the middle, deflected again. They'll do it one more time. And ball left on the ground, but a good job picking it back up by Chelsea Curtis.
Curtis is all over the place in this fourth period. It just seems like wherever the ball is, she's just right there with it.
Unbelievable time of possession for the Eagles today. And when it seems like even their plays are unsuccessful on offense, they find a way to quickly get the ball back.
Right on cue, Mack had the ball taken away from her and ends up into the stick of Lacey Scanlon. Finds Pomerleau on the right behind the goal. She stepped out of bounds though. Yep. Goes back to the Hornets.
Yeah, she saved the ball, but then stepped her foot out of bounds and touched with the stick, so that qualifies the ball as out of bounds.
Whidden knocks it away from Mack once again. Whidden again just really all over this game as well. She's looking to survey the floor. Whidden finds a cutting Curtis, tried to whack it in, can't hang on to the ball. Rolls back out into the stick of Pomerleau. Legally at the top. Here's Carrier. Let that one fly just a bit too high over the net, but it will stay here with the Eagles.
Yep, Sydney Heth does a good job backing that shot up and keeping it here. She's going to swing around.
Looking for it, but took a shot right to the face.
Yeah, that'll be a card.
Yep.
100%. So Sydney Heth with an opportunity at a free position goal.
And one less woman on the field as well. That's Summer Gumet, who has been one of them who's been really active for this Hornets team. Would not be surprised if Heth just lets this one rip right across the middle. As we await the whistle. Heth geared up. Takes it all the way herself. Just over the net.
Played well by the Hornets defense there.
Yet another call on the play, though.
Yeah, so she'll get another opportunity. Second chance opportunity for Sydney Heth. This time taking it from the corner.
Whistle blows. Heth looks to do it herself. Couldn't scoop it in. Woodward again, the nice reaction play. This time kicked out by Lengel. It will end up in the stick of Scanlon. And this might be the longest possession that we've had all game today.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy how long they've been able to hold on to the ball. And just as I say that, it's taken away.
Garris right there to get the ball away from Heth. She's double teamed. And Lengel boxes out Mack for a great recovery on the play. Tries to find a cutting Carrier. The ball nearly bounced into the goal. Woodward just in time. They can just ensuring that doesn't happen. Pomerleau once again. Trying to find a cutting Montana Carrier. Whidden scoops it up. And possession will resume for the Eagles. Mack knocks the ball away. Takes it herself and just looking to just bring the ball up the field. There's 3 Eagles defenders or players right in her face. But she is not bothered in the slightest. Makes the woman miss. And eventually loses the ball.
Great defense there.
Into the stick of Carrier. Here's Finley Pomerleau. Looking to do it herself. And flips it into the goal. Finley Pomerleau, off the assist from Carrier, scores once again for the Eagles.
Pomerleau Getting another goal here today. Increasing this lead even further for the Eagles. That's got just over 6 minutes remaining in the game. And what will be a dominant and decisive victory for the Eagles, who, as we mentioned, Sam, taking on Maine Maritime on Tuesday, which is going to be just a back and forth battle, I believe. I'm so excited to watch that game and call that on Tuesday night. MMA 5-1 right now.
Yeah, to quote Katy Perry, there will be some fireworks in that game on Tuesday against Maine Maritime. That'll be one to watch out for. And, you know, I mean, both those teams match up so well. We talked about the personal rivalry between these two teams, and if this play from the Eagles is anything to go off of, it's going to be an exciting thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's gonna be a fun matchup for sure. Coming down the stretch here and really getting into the thick of conference play. And honestly, that could be a East Championship preview.
Lingo found Heth. She tried to take it again. This time Lingo trying to take it. And there's a whistle on the play.
See what's going on. I think Lengel's somebody's getting an opportunity for a free position shot. Might be Langle.
I think it is going to be Lingo with a free position opportunity. Just under 5 left to play.
Let's see what she decides to do. Will she shoot it or pass it off? It'll be a pass off.
Tried to find a cutting Montana carrier. Heth trying to track it down. And able to keep it in bounds. She surveys the field. Finds Baker. Baker trying to find...
Wow, what a feed.
Tried to find a cutting Scanlon, but couldn't get that one to go. But yeah, incredible vision by Baker. But controlled by Mack. Once again, just absolutely swarmed by the Eagles. Here comes Baker. Heth gets the pass from Baker.
Free position coming up.
Yeah, got whacked once again. Now their third opportunity here for a goal in the free position opportunity.
Taking it up near the top of that arc. With a little bit more space this time. Heth's got to get it off fast.
Foul was on Denio and Sydney Heth.
Third time's a charm.
Rips it through the net.
Third time's a charm for Sydney Heth, and she'll get her first goal of the season, second of her career. And you got to believe that this squad is happy for her to get a goal in her senior season.
You can see the Eagles on the sideline dancing in synchronized fashion after Heth scored the goal, and you saw the excitement on Heth's face. That just goes to show how much that goal means to her. It goes to show how much playing for this team means to her. And it just goes to show how important that lacrosse has been, not only to her, but for this whole team and all of her friends on the team as well. It's been a very fun game to watch throughout this one. In terms of the Eagles and just how they've been able to go about and just do their business on the offensive side of the ball. And credit has to be given to the Hornets in the capacity because they're playing 2 women down, and fatigue has definitely set in by now. But you got to give them credit; they are fighting to the very end.
Yeah, right. To come out here regardless when you know you're down. Normally, even with 9 players on the field, you're still playing down. But to play with just 7 players takes a lot of heart and a true love for the sport to come out here and compete despite the personnel.
2.5 minutes left to play, just under that in this game. Ball is still loose. Lengel fighting for the ball, ends up in her stick. Tries to find a cunning woman. That was Curtis, but nothing happening there. Eagles will get another chance once again. Here's Carrier. Thought about the shot, but got the ball whacked away by Garish.
I think they're definitely trying to get it to Montana Carrier as well, the captain of this team. Has 5 goals on the year already as a defender.
She gets it near the middle, tries to do it herself. Good heads-up play by Woodward.
Yeah, great save. Great stick save.
Baker brings it back out, finds Lacey Scanlon. Just missed off the right-hand corner. Baker gets it back. Finds Carrier once again. This time is good from Montana Carrier. And you can hear the Eagles once again celebrating the fact that all of their seniors have gone on the board today. We'll hear about that on Monty Monday, I'm sure, on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, you will. And you got to believe that this team is just totally ecstatic. So many people getting involved today on the offensive side of the ball. Players that don't see a whole lot of time, and the players that do, that have been a part of this team for so long, playing out of position and finally getting their names put up on the board.
25-1 our score here at Boucher Field as we're under a minute left to play. The Eagles handily coming away with a victory in this game. And with, like we said, with MMA just around the corner, this is definitely all the momentum you'd want. As Lengel wins the draw control, finds Lacey Scanlon. She got whacked on the play. I believe that was Denio. It was Bridget Denio who whacked Scanlon on the play.
So she'll get an opportunity. Scanlon, one of the only ones who has not scored yet.
The only senior who has not scored in this game yet.
8 seconds left on the clock. Oh.
Just knocked out of bounds.
And they'll just ride this one out.
And that's going to do it for us here at Boucher Field. The Eagles with an absolute masterclass 25-1 dominant victory against the Hornets of Vermont State Lyndon. And for us up here in the booth, I'm Max Sturm. Excuse me, this is for Max Sturm. I'm Sam Miller saying thank you so much for watching. This has been the Husson Eagles Sports Network.